Welcome to a couple of bunkies. My wife and I are having a hard time keeping track of all the projects that need to get done around the house. I have a handful of whiteboards that are in use. One is a calendar and one is a shopping list. I wanted to do something a little old school, and there's nothing really as nostalgic and as iconic as chalk and chalkboards. We also wanted to add corkboard across the bottom so we can have an area to use thumbtacks in order to hold pictures or even business cards, and a small shelf for holding chalk and the eraser. Now we need to have a few things in order to start this project. First, we need 2 foot by 4 foot of birch ply. I've honestly used MDF board for this same project, and it worked a lot better with the chalkboard paint. There was less grain and imperfections than the sanded ply, so if you can, go with MDF. Next, corkboard tiles. Chalkboard paint, and I used construction adhesive in order to put everything together. Of course, you're going to need some chalk, and it's always good to have an eraser so you can clean the board after you're done. First, I cut the plywood in half. Then I reset my fence and cut 6 inches from one of the panels. Then I cut the corkboard into 6-inch strips. Now I did a little dry fit. Now I had a small piece of wood that I used for a jig in my cradle video. I felt that this jig would make a perfect slot for holding chalk and erasers. I cut the portion to about a 2-foot section, and then I widened the inner area so it would be able to hold the eraser. I rounded over all the sharp edges with a 1/4-inch roundover bit, and went over all of the areas with a belt sander. Now that all the parts are to size, I can add a clear coat of poly on the eraser ledge. Lightly sand the board that I'm going to be using as a chalkboard. Doing a light sanding before applying paint is always a great idea. And now I add chalkboard paint to the board. Altogether, I added 3 coats of this with sanding in between. If you made it this far, consider subscribing to our channel. A simple click from you can mean the world to us. After the 3 coats of chalkboard paint are on, I can go ahead and start putting everything together. I attached everything together with the construction adhesive. I weighed down the chalkboard with some spare weights I had laying around. And I glued on the corkboard and added more weights. I glued on the small ledge, and later I added 2 screws from the back in order to hold it into place. And here is the final result. Now there are a lot of things that I could do on this project in order to make it a little bit more snazzy. Adding a frame like a picture frame, or adding a simple trim around it. We hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe.